Really? Really? A month or two passes and y'all just go insane, huh? What's up, guys? All Punch here, and here we are to do a quick, and I mean quick, and I'll try to make it quick, it's me. But with that being the case, here we are to do a quick discussion on whether or not in any universe, in any reality, any version of existence, is it possible that Mahoraga, the strongest Shikigami of the 10 Shadows, could have beaten Satoru Gojo in a 1v1. So, we don't got much, but we do have stuff to talk about. So let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. What's up, guys? All Punch here. Fun fact, I have it on me, and I keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, I have this on me, and I keep it on me at all times. I forgot to put the eraser back in you. Is your lead still on the floor? I need to find it. But with that being the case, Gojo Satoru versus Mahoraga. Now, admittedly, this was a topic that I hadn't necessarily seen going around too much after Gojo, mainly because Mahoraga had the chapter before. In 235, we literally see Gojo vaporize Mahoraga. But it seems, with Gojo Satoru and his accomplishments getting less and less impressive as time goes on, with Sukuna doing more and more outlandish stuff, and obviously, the glazing that Sukuna received in 236, and then 237, and then 238, and then just the glaze that Sukuna's been receiving as of recent, and all the mystical, magical madness that's been going on, it seems like now people are walking back away from Sukuna being the one man who could challenge Satoru Gojo. I've been seeing things like Kashimo getting brought up. I've been seeing things like Kenny, like Yuta, and we'll tackle those at their own other time. But the main one that had me biggity bamboozled was from the Shadow Sloppers themselves. It's like someone hit with this treasure I summon on them, and suddenly out of the woodwork, I've been seeing a whole bunch of, well, actually, I think Mahoraga, especially after its adaptations from Sukuna, would have been able to beat Gojo. Yeah, honestly, I don't think Gojo would be able to do it like that. Honestly, I think, considering Mahoraga is the natural predator to the 10 Shadows, and honestly, is built to destroy 6 Eyes Limitless users and beat a wielder of the 6 Eyes and a wielder of the Limitless in the past with a previous Zen clan head, obviously that must mean that Mahoraga on its own is more than powerful enough to take down Gojo Satoru, since he's just another user of the 6 Eyes and the Limitless. Now, here's the thing. I am not the sharpest spoon in no kitchen shed. I'll admit. Your boy's not that bright. I was struggling to do basic math in like a lot of my videos. I was about to say in a lot of my videos, I sometimes struggle to do basic math with a calculator. So obviously, your boy's not the sharpest spoon in the kitchen shed. And once again, I've softened on the 10 Shadows technique. I've gotten a lot kinder than I was before. I used to just think it was trash, and now I think it's like upper mid tier, even if you remove Mahoraga, because there are certain things you get, and there's certain totalities that can come with it, especially now. Like, there's definitely room for the 10 Shadows to be quite a mighty technique. Alright? I say that wholeheartedly, alright? Shadow Sloppers, let's come to an agreement on that. Let's shake on it. Let's shake on it. This is such a weird shit, but let's shake on it, alright? The 10 Shadows is extremely powerful. And you know what? I'll even give you one thing about the previous statement I just made that I've been seeing arguments for. Yes, presumably, based on Megumi's own assumption, and the fact that both of them perished, indeed, a 6 Eyes and Limitless user did in fact lose to Mahoraga. Presumably. Once again, we have no context for that fight from, I forget which period it's in. I think it's actually in the Edo period, which is from Kashimo's time period, and, some about farmers. But with it being the case, we do know that a Zenin clan head and a Gojo clan head, the Gojo clan being a wielder of the 6 Eyes and Limitless, and the Zenin clan head being a wielder of the 10 Shadows technique, they most certainly did have a battle, and they were both cooked. This seems very similar to every situation where Mahoraga was summoned in the past, and Megumi even assumes this when he drops Mahoraga on Haruta. So clearly, indubitably, Mahoraga does have a leg up over certain people in the past. A fresh Mahoraga too. Presumably, the previous user of the 10 Shadows technique did not have what Sukuna had and actually tamed Mahoraga. It was most likely, once again, just a dual ritual thing where the 10 Shadows user was like, I may not win, but neither will you. We're both going down. I can agree with that. All right. But like, yo, All that being said, I know there's no way on this good green earth we're assuming that that there has been a Satoru Gojo before Satoru Gojo. Like, legitimately, I don't know how you read the entire series and all of its implications and all of its statements and the way that Gojo has innovated and expanded on his own technique in ways never seen before, and literally just read the fight. Like, here's the thing. Mahoraga, extremely powerful. In my opinion, probably the best Shikigami in the series. The only one that, like, it's kind of an argument. It's like Rika. If you think Rika's a Shikigami, if you think Rika is still technically a cursed spirit and not a technique, based on the fact that Rika is able to exist after Yuta opens domain and then domain collapses and fully manifested Rika doesn't disappear. So maybe it's some weird like in between of Shikigami and cursed technique. That's the only thing that I could see arguing with Mahoraga for the top Shikigami spot. So Mahoraga, indubitably him at the, and especially end of Gojo versus Sukuna fight Mahoraga. The Mahoraga post-unlocking Spatial Slash, insanely powerful, insanely beefy, insanely juicy, obviously. An amazing attack, great stats, great bulk, great durability, all that's fantastic, beautiful, wonderful, but it's not beating Gojo. Satoru. Maybe a previous Gojo clan member, but not Gojo Satoru. And here's the thing, right? Giving Mahoraga literally everything. Like, notably, I don't know, like, how this mystical magical scenario would happen. Would just, like, would Sukuna just randomly die, I guess? And then his fully adapted Mahoraga is going to run the runs with Gojo after Ahito got cooked, I guess. That's how we're going to do it. Let's say the unrestricted Hollow Purple vaporized Sukuna, but somehow Mahoraga's still here, and this Mahoraga goes up against Gojo. I'm like, we literally see it get one tap by an unrestricted Hollow Purple. Like, what are we really expecting here? We literally see it with its regular attacks, and Melee Spatial Slash does right off Gojo Satoru's arm. It just deletes it, removes it, deducts it from Gojo's taxes, if you will. And the taxes, I mean Gojo's body, removes Gojo's arm. But not only was that in a scenario where Gojo was being ganked, but also, well, to be fair, he's being ganked by Mahoraga and Ahito in that scenario. So, not too crazy. But also, we just know that if Mahoraga could do anything against Satoru Gojo, Sukuna wouldn't have had to protect it. Like, realize, throughout a majority of the battle, once Mahoraga became an active player on the field, Sukuna was always there like, no, please, don't hurt my baby. And sure, don't get me wrong, Mahoraga does have some great feats after fully adapting. Like, even Ryomen Sukuna at 20 whole fingers, well, 19 plus mummy, essentially 20 fingers. Even Ryomen Sukuna after 20 whole fingers, when hit with I believe a lowered output, Black Flash Blue Punch, he did go. So for Mahoraga to be just able to eat those, scrumptious, scrumdiddlyumptious, delicious, if you will. That's fantastic. Being able to eat multiple of those even. Blocks the first one, eats another one to the side. So, like, obviously, Mahoraga, after fully adapting, by the way, is extremely impressive. Don't get me wrong. I see the hype. And obviously, he does have the tool. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with the idea that Mahoraga has the Mauska tool on him. Just like I have it on me and keep it on me at all times, Mahoraga happens to now, after fully adapting for like 15 years, does happen to have the thing that's necessary to execute Satoru Gojo. He does. Will he... The question is, will he perform when he has Gojo right in front of him? Or will he run up on that boy and get erased from existence? Because of course he's going to. Like, legitimately. If Mahoraga goes for that Spatial Slash again, it's kind of like the same thing that people argue if Gojo comes back. Maybe he'd be able to deal with Spatial Slash. I mean, it's questionable. It's very questionable. But, like, let's go with that idea. Mahoraga got one chance to do it. Got one chance and whiffed. If you think Gojo's not going to be in that thing's face the entire time, I don't know what you expect. And realize, once again, all it takes is Gojo, who's already realized that that thing is durable enough for blues, durable enough for reds, durable enough for everything else. Gojo's going to go for a purple. He's just gonna go for it. And unfortunately, I don't even think you can argue Mahoraga's adapted to the purple. Like, the thing is, with Mahoraga and its wheel getting absolutely vaporized by the unrestricted hollow, it's very likely that Mahoraga just wouldn't even adapt at all. Like, not I'd adapt? Unfortunately not. No, it would not. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of people have been arguing, well, okay, fine. Maybe he can't defeat Gojo if he's, the one that got vaporized in 235, but what if he came back after that? Number one, how would he come back after that? How would he come back? He's totality fodder now. How would he come back after that? Hypothetically, let's say he did come back after that. He wouldn't have adapted. Because one of the biggest things about Mahoraga, and one of the reasons I think Mahoraga kind of suffers once he takes 2 steps outside his own verse, is that, well, if you vaporize the thing in one shot, the adaptation doesn't matter. The adaptation relies on Mahoraga surviving the initial hit. And while Mahoraga is bulky, beefy, juicy, if you will, do not get me wrong, he's clearly not the bulkiest, the beefiest, or the juiciest. We see Ryomen Sukuna off guard at the start of the battle, put 2 hands out and catch a 200% hollow purple. Launched at him. Did it lose some efficacy? Apparently. But still, that was very, very impressive. We see super duper fatigued, running out of juice, like literally 2 feet away from the hollow purple. 20-finger Sukuna, Meguna, get smacked in the face by hollow purple and live. Sukuna's bulky enough, juicy enough, fat enough. I mean fat in like a good way. Like how Chansey's fat. Like Sukuna's special defense stat is through the roof. He might as well be an EV like Chansey. So much bulk. So much bulk. Max EVs and max IVs, a calm nature. That's smack it. That's essentially Sukuna's level of bulk. But Mahoraga clearly just don't got that. Because he got vaporized. And you'd be wondering, well, Pencil Man, you level with me real quick. How are you going to expect Gojo Satoru to set up the unrestricted hollow, or even a hollow purple, considering Mahoraga can now press him at any range, point, or level in space with his new spatial slash ability, and also the speed relative enough to tag Satoru? How did he set it up the first time? How did he set it up the first time? Right in his face, the exact same way he did before. Literally, realize Gojo kind of made it overcomplicated. He left the blue lingering. All he needs to do, we've seen the man spawn and maintain numerous blues by just flicking them into existence. All he needs to do is fire a red at one of them bad boys. And remember, Mahoraga at base, when it hasn't adapted to something yet, I'm not going to say it's frail, but relative to Satoru Gojo's attack potency, it is kind of frail. Remember, both Sukuna and Gojo are like, okay, Mahoraga got brought out. Easy. Let me just... Gojo says, I'm going to hit it with the red. And Sukuna, the moment Mahoraga pops out to save him from a limited void, is like, okay, Mahoraga, get back in the shadows, because he will one-tap you. So, Mahoraga, at base, no adaptations to purple, is dying to purple. I would agree that if you were to take away Gojo's ult, well, his other ult, like obviously Unlimited Void is his ult, but that's taken away in this super crazy hypothetical scenario. Because once again, I've seen Shadow Sloppers. I've seen them, but I haven't seen anyone crazy enough to assume that a fresh out the box Maho is like doing anything to Gojo Satoru. Like, I have not seen that one. If y'all want to argue that, go ahead. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna judge you verbally. Probably verbally. I will judge you. But with that being the case, specifically this hyper-adapted Mahoraga still doesn't have that immunity to purple. That's my main thing. That's the hardest selling point. Because not only do you have to argue that it's going to be able to do anything on its own without, the strongest character in the verse running alongside it, sprinting alongside it, trying to protect it the entire time. But also you're going to have to somehow convince me that Gojo Satoru can't just do the thing he did in the narrative while being pressed by the strongest character in the verse. And Mahoraga at the same time. If you can somehow convince me of that, I don't know how you would, but if you can somehow convince me of that, then sure, I'll hand it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll lay it full stack on the table that Mahoraga could beat Gojo Satoru. But without that purple adaptation and with the ease of access that Gojo hypothetically should have to unrestricted hollow, he could, like, unironically, considering what he was able to face tank, if he just, like, forms a red in one hand, forms a blue in the other hand, and just claps them together, that's an unrestricted hollow right there. And then Mahoraga's vaporized. Atomized. Even the wheel itself is cooked. And the wheel's darn near indestructible. So, in my opinion, there's absolutely no way on this good green earth that Mahoraga is able to defeat Gojo Satoru, even after its million, billion, quintillion adaptations. Especially considering, like, it goes for space slash once. Like, in character, it doesn't even go for it. Like, after that one time it lands it in 234. It's like, yeah! Alright, I've adapted to infinity. Guess it's time to die. So, like, in character, I mean, you can definitely argue Mahoraga as a character, but, like, in character, Mahoraga wouldn't even go for spatial slash that often. Meanwhile, if we're just pretending, once again, in 235, before Unrestricted Hollow gets launched off, and let's say after Ahito's end, Gojo's going to go for Unrestricted Hollow, because he knows that's the only thing that can get rid of this super adapted Mahoraga. So, ultimately, I'm sorry. There's nothing the Divine General can do to the unrestricted and limitless sorcerer. However, that's what I think. Please tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. I don't think this one's debatable. Like, I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna see what is said. But I made this video especially for one person, and I know you're watching. You make an argument. I want to see it. But if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave. Nah, I wouldn't adapt. In the comment section down below. I would like to thank you guys so much for watching once again. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on every video second of the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Zach with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Sukuna Plays, Redle 4765, and Greyhound. I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, Demix LND, and Igneal. I'd like to give a thank you to our $7 member, Autumn's Morning Lazo. And I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchio, Joaquin, Idemokami, and China Doll 09. I'd like to give a thicker than a snicker thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give another thicker than a frozen jar of peanut butter thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.